The information's there somewhere. I can feel it, but I can't quite get at it.
Forget that. What the hell's wrong with him? Nothing. Nothing really wrong. He's a little special. He's fine. He'll be all right. Yeah, he's special, all right. Doug, see, what we did was we made a copy from two. And you know how sometimes you make a copy of a copy, it's not quite as sharp as, well, the original. Well, that's kind of what happened.
Welcome to Trekcast, the Klingon podcast. This is where we discuss everything Klingon, from Batless to Kahless to Stovelcore, right here on Trekcast, the Klingon podcast.
All right, welcome to Trekcast. I am Chad Waldo. With me, as always, is Daniel Reyes. We are missing the third leg, the trifecta of the show, Dan Lombardo, yet again. He's not a casualty of the coronavirus, but
he's working with Space Force Medical.
He is working with Space Force Medical. It is ever-changing at this point. Things seem to be moving at a very fast clip since Friday when Trump announced the national emergency. Yep. I myself am supposed to fly out tonight to Chicago, O'Hare International Airport, of all places, and then drive north. Yeah, exactly. And then drive north to Muskogee. I don't know how to pronounce it. Somewhere outside of Milwaukee for training this week. And apparently that's changed, maybe, kind of, sort of. I'm texting with my boss right now as we speak, and thankfully I haven't booked my hotels up there around Milwaukee because as I fly in, I might just go to one of the main offices in the area for Hexagon in Elgin. So who knows where I'm going to go. One way or the other, I'm on a flight. So,
good luck, man.
Yeah. And I looked at my flight earlier today. And, this is the most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
Indeed.
So
this is Travelcast.
This is Travelcast. It's going to be travel/foodcast/pandemic broadcast coming to you live.
Everything is pandemic cast right now.
Everything is pandemic cast. I know everybody's tired of hearing about it. I mean, you see it all over Facebook at this point where people are like, hey, thanks for the 50 million different emails about how everybody's handling the coronavirus. Thank you. I needed to know how Trader Joe's was handling
I needed
whatever.
To know.
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, it's going to be interesting. I looked at my flight, and there's 10 people on the flight. It's a big plane.
Oh, nice.
The city of Chicago is something that happens like 6 times in the afternoon on a Sunday, both ways, every Sunday, and there's only 2 flights now, and at the one flight, it's a pretty good-sized plane, has about 100 seats on it. There's 10 of us, so I'm going to sit as far away from everybody as possible.
I was going to say, you get your own row at least.
I will be exactly. I'll be the last one that gets on that plane, and I will pick my seat away from everybody else. I don't care what they've assigned me to. I'm not sitting there.
See, I would be a dick and be like, "Hey, can I sit in the middle?"
Yeah.
Somebody.
Just find the one person who's sitting in the aisle, not next to a window, and say, "I'm going to get in there."
Yeah. That's my seat, sir.
Yeah, or someone that's in the window, and I'll just go sit in the aisle and totally block them in. You can't get past me now.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can't get past me. See, I'm getting live updates as we talk right now, so who knows what.
Yeah, so it's been kind of nuts over here. They just emailed out in my area that they're shutting down the schools. So that was the big topic of conversation at my sister's birthday party yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're shutting them down, I guess, for like a month, like until April something. I don't know. I don't have kids, so whatever. But I guess that also correlates with spring break over here.
Yeah.
So
same thing happened here.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, as of right now, spring break for the kids was, Friday was their last day until spring break's over, and this whole next week was going to be spring break. And it seems like everybody in the district, and LSR 7 is a huge district. I don't even know how many kids there are, but there's got to be like 6 high schools and 7 or 8 junior highs and 40 some odd elementaries that are part of the whole district itself.
Right.
And, at any rate, this week is supposed to be spring break, and it seems like everybody was starting to prepare for distance learning after spring break was over. So everybody in the whole district, every kid has Chromebooks.
Did you hear about the what the kids are doing in China with distance learning?
No.
So apparently, like, there's an app that they had to download so that they can still do school,
Yeah.
And so the kids got it in their heads that if they go give the app terrible reviews on iTunes, they could get it kicked off the iStore. And that's what they tried to do. So this app went from like 4 stars to like 1 star in a day.
Oh, geez, that's funny.
That's smart.
Leave it to the kids. They'll always find a way to do something like that.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's human nature.
It is. So
yeah, I don't want to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we should get started with the news.
Attention all hands, it's time for Star Trek news.
I guess so. We should,
Yeah.
shouldn't we? There's a lot to talk about, really.
Yeah, so we'll try to entertain you with some Star Trek stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something upbeat and fun, you know?
Yeah, just whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got the Snack Madness still, since now there's no March Madness. This is your only sports game in town.
Exactly. This is the only bracket you can fill out, and it's a good one to munch, too. So,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
order your
So while
groceries
you're at home-
online, have them delivered, and make all these delicious snacks.
Exactly. All right, so our first news story comes to us from Bounding Into Comics. So take this with a massive grain of salt. Massive grain of salt. Rumor: Captain Pike series in the pipeline at CBS.
Yeah.
So this rumor comes from actually Giant Freaking Robot, which is another website, and it also comes from the world's worst rumor website, WeGotThisCovered.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying that there's several sources saying that a Captain Pike series is coming down the road with Anson Mount and Ethan Peck and Rebecca Romaine, and it's going to be their 5-year mission before Kirk and all that.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I think it would be fun. I don't want more singing Spock, I'll tell you that. You could argue that the short treks were the backdoor pilot for this. So we'll see. But
Depends
I
on
would not get.
how well those did. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously CBS has numbers to see how well those did and how many downloads they got versus all their other short treks, and I'm sure they were the most popular of all of them.
Yeah, what I'm wondering is, did people watch them all the way through? Because I could see people starting them and getting excited and then not watching them. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So speaking of Star Trek success, our next news story comes from CNN Business, and they're saying that right now, Viacom is a huge success because of Star Trek. Their streaming service, the CBS All Access. It's just a story talking about like how good it's doing, how that Star Trek is the perfect franchise for this because it's continually growing and changing, and it's perfect for a streaming service.
It's a huge catalog. I mean, there's just so much there. I mean, and there's so much you can do with it. It is perfect for streaming from the standpoint of being able to put something out there, watch how well it's doing, make your changes as need be to keep it going and growing. You're right. It is perfect. And it also goes to the point, too, that it's amazing that you've got Netflix, you've got Prime Video, you've got Hulu, and the late entry of Disney Plus, which is doing pretty well, even though there's like, okay, after like the first month, like what else am I going to watch on here?
Oh, apparently Frozen 2. They just released it early because of Corona.
Well, it's not on Disney Plus. You can get it on iTunes and buy it.
No. They announced yesterday that it should be up today.
Oh, today as of Sunday? Because I looked Friday. I saw that announcement. I was like, oh, cool, let's go look. And then I was like, no, it's there to buy, but it's not there just to watch on Disney Plus. So things like that they can do with Disney, that's going to make that a powerhouse. But eventually, when there's more stuff on there.
And there's also a rumor that they may do, now that they're talking about maybe doing the Black Widow movie on Disney Plus, because can't really go to movie theaters right now. And the MCU is so specific on timelines that if they delay Black Widow, they have to delay everything else.
Yeah, this could be the next nail in the coffin for theaters.
Yeah.
And streaming movies like this directly to your platform. And, you know, I mean, I don't know.
If they want to bump up their subscribers overnight, that's what you do.
That is exactly, because it's $6 for crying out loud. I mean, 4 of you watch a movie at home because you're paying $6 a month versus 4 of you going to the theaters, $35, and then you buy the popcorn.
Right.
So, Yeah, I don't know. Man, talk about things changing super fast.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, we'll see. So Discovery and Picard are a massive failure, and of course CBS All Access is upset.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I saw too this week, that a lot of people on the stock market obviously is in a tank.
Yeah.
But everybody who's watching stocks is talking about how CBS Viacom is a huge buy right now. It is a shock that they have. I mean, it's not a shock to us because we love Trek, obviously, but it's a shock overall that just all of their streaming platform stuff on CBS and Showtime, because Showtime's part of that, has done so well. They've doubled their subscribers year over year. Amidst all the other platforms you have out there, amidst all the other things that they're competing against, they've managed to stake a pretty sizable account base already. And not be the huge name of Disney Plus, and not be Netflix, and not be Prime, so we'll have to see. I mean, NBC is trying to rush their Peacock streaming service out, which that's the dumbest name ever. I mean, someone in marketing needs to just be taken out and beaten with a stick. But we'll see if they're a success as well. I just don't see NBC having the same kind of catalog that CBS has got in mind, but who knows?
Right. So we'll see.
And where does that leave ABC? Well, ABC's Disney, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
With those
they're
guys.
fine. They're
yeah,
fine.
I think they're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
our next news story comes from space.com. Star Trek shields up. U.S. lawmakers advise using Vulcan greeting to avoid corona exposure.
I'm going to try that this week. I'm going to try that.
You should. Apparently, several lawmakers have come out and said, if you want to do your elbow bumps, that's fine. But maybe the Vulcan greeting might be the best.
Yeah, because you're still touching somebody with your elbow.
Exactly. And they're saying that like 6 feet is the minimum distance you want from people. So
the minimum?
Yeah, is what I've heard.
That's why we have everybody crammed in these long lines when they're at the airports trying to get back in.
Yep.
6 feet's a long way, man.
I know it is. Yeah.
Social distancing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And our last news story comes to us from people.com. And the headline is Sonequa Martin Green expecting daughter, add another passenger on the Green train. So, there will be another Michael Burnham.
Yep.
So, Congratulations to her and her family.
Yeah, that's cool. I saw that she was pregnant. That's pretty cool.
The only problem I have with this, she posted a picture on her Instagram. They used the picture on peoplemagazine.com, whatever it is. Her little boy, her current son, her oldest son, I guess now.
Yeah.
He's wearing Star Wars pajamas. I mean, I get kids are rebellious, but come on.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So, no, they all look very excited and happy. So,
yeah.
Congratulations to them. But
I
saw that and I'm like, well, okay, I got to point that out.
Yeah. You'd think maybe you'd just change the kid's shirt for the photo.
You would think.
Everybody's gonna see this, and you just happen to be like a major star of a Star Trek series.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's young. He's like 5, so. Yeah. Chewbacca sits wherever he wants on the Enterprise. I get it.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You had a lot of news there, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. So let's see.
Moving into feedback.
Yes.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
So we've got a voicemail to get to from Mr.
Blake
Bartlett.
Yeah, Blake Barnett, not to be confused with Garrett Bartlett.
Right.
Or whatever.
So let's play that now.
All right.
Hi, this is Blake Barnett, not Drake Bartlett. Just a couple of things about the most recent episode of Picard and your review. I wonder if anyone else noticed. Surely somebody did. My daughter and I recognized the Riker's cabin immediately. It is on the Universal Studios tour backlot. You can see it on the tram in Hollywood. And it is famously the cabin used in The Great Outdoors and many other movies and TV shows. So it was really odd to see that show up in Star Trek. One other thing, I think the only other time we've seen a two-handed mind meld was in Star Trek VI with the very violent mind meld with Polaris by Spock. So it was interesting that mind meld with Agnes was conducted in such a way. Anyway, looking forward to seeing you guys in Vegas. Have a good day.
Thanks for the feedback. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, you guys got to make sure you get those calls in, obviously, to the phone number, and I will tell you what that phone number is once I look it up here. 816-287-0448. That is the Trekcast hotline. It just goes straight to voicemail. You don't have to worry about talking to anybody. Again, that's 816-287-0448 to leave your message, just like Blake did, and we will play it on the air. Unless you're just leaving a voicemail that's just profanity laced and means absolutely nothing, we'll play it. So call in and sing. I don't care.
Well, so I did post on the Facebook group, that we were going to be recording, and I asked for people's thoughts and comments, and home Corona cures.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It's not Tito's, by the way.
No.
That doesn't work.
Well, and somebody said prune juice, because, of course, it's a Warriors drink.
Yeah, that was the first comment, actually, was that. So that was pretty good.
Yeah. But there were some interesting ones. Let's see. John had a interesting idea that the ancient cataclysm that the Romulans are so afraid of repeating might be from the original series, the Rook's Old Ones. It's right under the So that is an interesting idea, that it would be brought back all the way back to the original series.
Well, they do so many of these little tie-ins, and I'm trying to load up the way that's what I'm doing. But they do so many of these little tie-ins to oh, you're gonna be kidding me. To the original series. I mean, sound effects, music, just little hints and drops of things all over the place. So it fit with what they're already doing to do that. That was a pretty good. If there's a nerd alert, we could put in there somewhere for that to be perfect, because that's a heck of a pickup.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. And actually, after he said it, I had to think for like a while and then go pull up a reference to it that, oh yeah, that's right. I completely forgot. TOS is the one series that I know I've watched all of it, but I'm sure if I went through and watched all of it again, I would recall maybe a third of it.
Yeah. It's the one I'm least familiar with.
Yeah. Animated series I'm least familiar with because I've never seen it, but
that doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Nobody counts that, but I know I've seen it all. It's just not the one that I go back and watch over and over again, like I do TNG and like I'm doing right now with Voyager. I think I'm on season 5, maybe towards the end of season 5 of Voyager right now.
Yeah.
So for like my 4th time of going through it, but yeah, I had to go back and reference that. That was pretty good. It was a good pickup.
Yeah, that was a good one. So. We'll see. Hopefully. Let's see. What else? Brian says to spray Windex on it, meaning the coronavirus.
Very good. My big fat Greek wedding.
Yeah. That's a deep cut right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Sam says that he thinks the latest episode of Picard was the most Star Trek episode they've done yet. Very dialogue driven and character development, which a lot of people have been waiting for.
Well, from Picard's standpoint, yes, definitely so. Because, and I think it's clear now. You can tell me your thoughts on this, Daniel. But I think it's clear now that they did this on purpose. That when the show started, it was Old Man Logan, very much so. But they've let his character and dialogue progress again, like he's coming back to himself.
Right.
I think they did that on purpose, and that's why it felt a little off in the beginning, because they wanted it to feel off in the beginning, and now it feels like a true Picard character because he's come about, as you would say. So I think they did that on purpose.
Missing piece is back in his face, apparently, like in the show open.
That was his positronic synapses coming back together.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I think it's starting to come together. I still kind of think maybe Soji might end up somehow being his daughter as well. I don't know why. I just have this feeling that's going to happen. Yeah. So then it becomes Space My Two Dads. We'll see. Yeah. That's right. I snuck that in there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. That's all the feedback we have. Oh wait, no. Paris wanted to know about the Snack Madness.
Yeah, she seems like she doesn't understand what's going on there, so she's missed something there. You've missed something there, Paris.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, what we're doing is it's a food matchup, just like the NCAA tournament that's not happening anymore.
Right.
It's just different foods competing against each other for your affections, and people get to vote on them in our Trekcast group on Facebook.
Yep.
So if you want to be part of the next round begins on Tuesday as we record this. Looks like we got some pretty tough matchups coming up, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, we do, and I think I've been knocked out because my fish and chips didn't make it past the first round.
No. It's funny. Yours, mine, and Dan's top foods all got knocked out.
Really?
Well,
Oh man.
if I remember right, he's a big fan of chicken strips.
Yep.
And chicken strips lost to chips and guacamole
Yeah.
in a nail biter, 24 to 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah. Looks like the big matchup that we're looking at, the most anticipated, is going to be potato chips versus chips and salsa. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah. My top one was salmon sushi rolls. I love salmon sushi rolls, but they're already knocked out, man.
I was gonna say all the sushi stuff got knocked out, didn't it?
Yeah, we don't like fresh foods.
No, it has to be fried.
Everything
The deeper you fry it, the better.
Fried is winning. Yeah. So
speaking of the brackets, did you get Case or Gentry's bracket, by the way? Because I just pulled up the Chad is wrong email for the first time in about a week because I didn't have access until whatever. Anyway, and it looks like he emailed the brackets in back on the 8th of March. So that was within the time frame.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I have it. I
I'll
don't
forward
remember all the ones. Yeah, I did get it.
You did?
No. Send it to me. Sorry, I got a different email from. Yeah, send it to me.
Okay, I'll forward it to you right now.
Cool. So yeah, we got some pretty tough brackets. So voting will start again on Tuesday, and there's going to be 2 matchups a day for the next 4 days after that. So Tuesday through Friday, and you can vote on your favorite foods. The voting periods are 24 hours to give people a chance to look at it, and yeah, should be exciting. So we start the Sweet 16 Tuesday.
Cool.
The Savory 16, I should say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in the emails, I got another email from Akil. He was listening to one of our, I guess, an older episode where we weren't sure who Dr. Sorens played by, Malcolm McDowell. We figured that out.
Right.
But did he also mentioned that it happens that guess who Malcolm McDowell is to another Star Trek alumni? In particular, Julian Bashir, Alexander Siddig. Malcolm
isn't he like
is his uncle?
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't get into the, right, wrong, or indifferent when it comes to the actual actors and their lives and their families and who they're connected to and all that. I know very little because I just care about the show.
Right.
In fact, the more I know about the actors playing it, probably the worse.
Right. Well, the only one I care about right now is Tom Hanks because he's our national treasure and he's under Corona.
He is.
Yeah.
I told you. I think I might have even said it on the last. No, I don't think I said it on the last. No, I just said it in our texts. As it happened that week before we found out about Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson both having come down with it, I was watching Splash with the girls. Watching 80s. Did I tell you guys that?
You told
so I don't know
me.
if I said it. I don't think I said it on the show, but anyway, I watched Splash with the girls, which was hysterical. Mm-hmm. And halfway through, Bella, my 12-year-old, looks at me and goes, "That guy sounds like Woody." That's because he is, honey.
Exactly.
What? No way. What? He looks too young. Yeah, well, this movie was made in the 80s, babe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, Tom Hanks says that he's doing much better and
good.
He's still in isolation, so yay.
I don't think I have any other feedbacks here. They canceled Planet Comic-Con here in town, so my press pass is still valid if they put it back up later this year. But as of right now, Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City is canceled, along with just about everything else.
Yeah, I was going to go to Emerald City in Seattle, Emerald City Comic Con, and that got canceled too. So
Yeah.
they never emailed me I had been confirmed for press passes, but I didn't get them.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll get them. They're supposed to be redoing it in August.
Oh, that'd
We'll
be good.
see. Yeah.
Hopefully not like around STLV time.
It's like mid August.
You'll have a busy month then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of traveling.
Yep. So, and STLV is still on as far as we know, and I can't imagine that far out we would still have. If we still have this problem that far out, then
we're all living in caves at that point.
We're screwed. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Oh yeah.
I feel fine. Anyway, so
well, technically WrestleMania is still going on. They haven't canceled that yet, and that's in 2.5 weeks.
Jeez.
They will cancel.
No audience though.
Well, because I'm a giant wrestling fan. They did their SmackDown show on Friday live from their training center. No audience, and that was the weirdest thing to watch.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, because it was rehearsal.
Yeah, I don't know how you can play any sports. I don't know how you could have that's why they ended up canceling, because really, honestly, I mean, if you're out there to play and compete in basketball or baseball or anything else, and there's no crowd, talk about sucking the energy out of it. You're just out there practicing at that point, and it's just that's hard. I mean,
well, see, sports I can see because at least it's a game, and you might get into the game, as an athlete. But wrestling, it's so crowd based, and I mean, Hulk Hogan putting his hand in the air, what do you do?
Yeah, I'll watch somebody do that. Crickets.
Yeah. Well, they kind of did that a couple times, just by habit.
Yeah,
and they were just oh yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I'm here all alone in my pajamas.
Yeah, and so I guess they're gonna do the Monday Night Raw that way too.
Oh, geez.
So okay.
Strange times, man. This is one of those things you're never going to forget, just like 9/11 and the market crash in 2008 and Y2K. I mean, the .com bust. I mean, this is another one of those things that's going to be right up there within your memory. It's always seared in your mind, that time when you had to work from home for a month and a half. So
yeah, exactly.
Which is you're used to, but I've done before as well.
In my world, humanity.
Yeah, exactly. I'm used to it as well from in the past. I 5 years worked from home, but I barely ever left my house. No, but that was a different era, though. That was 2010 to 2015, a little bit different time compared to now, but man, I'm very used to being on the road. I'm very used to traveling around and doing things and meeting customers and walking into places. And that's, I don't know, it's going to be a difficult thing over the next few months.
Yeah, it'll be weird.
It will be weird. So
make sure you hoard all your toilet paper and get canned foods.
What is with that? I mean, hey, we're all gonna get the colds, get the toilet paper. So does that mean if some other virus goes around where we get itchy rashes, we should all get the nasal spray off the shelf? I mean, what?
Yeah. I mean, supply chains are not being affected right now. It's we're fine. You don't need to hoard the toilet paper. Yeah.
No, I don't understand that. And then for people who actually need it, and I guess that's why we all shake with our right hands and not our left.
I don't. Yeah. Whatever.
Anyway.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right, ready to get on to the topic?
Let's get to the topic.
You're I'm done. Stop. Let's make something.
I watched the Will Wheaton show for a reason. So.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
I watched that show for a reason, so we could talk about it, Chad. Now get to it.
That's right. That thing is a nightmare to watch. No.
Oh my goodness. I imagine by now it's probably got some legs, but I did not have. I thought about it this episode to watch, but I just haven't had time. Things are crazy. So,
talking about Star Trek in this week's topic. Talking about the Star Trek in this week's topic.
Okay, let's get into the topic. It is, of course, talking about the latest Picard episode, Broken Pieces, which actually, as it turns out, references a lot of different things. The broken pieces that is Soji at this point, the broken pieces of her life and the nest and her friends or family and or sisters and brothers that are all synths like her, as well as, and this was kind of an interesting little twist, and I didn't see it coming, Rios and his brokenness, basically, and the broken pieces that are been fragmented out to all of his holograms. So that was a good bag or ugly. That was an interesting take.
See, and I took broken pieces to mean like the way they wrote this storyline.
Well, that's true too. I mean, this is another good episode, but this was the most disjointed of the recent good episodes from the standpoint of there are some really high highs, as in Picard's several speeches and all of his one-on-ones he's doing. It's Picard at his finest, to some really low lows, which would be Raffi's game of Where's Waldo when she's trying to find Reeves.
I felt so out of place.
It was
like a completely different show.
It was so weird. It was like she wants to go around and gossip. That's what it was. And what is with the emergency hospitality holograms need to constantly lean into people?
Yeah, he's my favorite one.
He's my favorite, the pilot. But if I was going,
the pilot seems pretty cool too.
Someone asked that in the feedback part post, by the way. If you're going to hang out with which one of Rios's holograms would you hang out with? And my answer is the pilot.
See, I would go the hospitality because, yeah, there you go. See, the hospitality, I think could get me my JLH.
Yeah.
So I got my priorities.
Yeah. Another good episode, though, just a little disjointed. So
yeah,
and it opens up. I mean, it answers a lot of questions. I think the whole plot has finally come to. It's weird that this was episode 8 and we have 2 episodes left, which means this is kind of the climax, basically, because the whole plot now comes together and all the little background details that we were missing are finally filled in, except for one thing, which is what's going on this planet. Right? It's the only thing that's really left unsaid at this point, which they could throw in a whole bunch of things once you get there, because every episode answers questions, but also begs the more, right? That's point.
It's going to end with a cliffhanger.
It is. Probably is going to end with a cliffhanger, but it was very interesting how they opened this episode. They always open them where it's in the past, whether it's 14 years in the past, 3 months in the past, whatever, 3 days in the past. I forget how far back it was when they did the Agnes thing, Doctor.
Everything's 14 years ago.
Doctor. Yeah, but the thing with Agnes and Dr. O was 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, admonition. That's what it's called, and we find out that the secret conclave of 8 is not people, but it's 8 planets in a special configuration.
Been pulled there to like some sort of beacon.
Yeah,
space.
I mean that's what it seems like. They were purposely positioned like that. To be a warning or a sign that, hey, this is not normal, and you should notice that this is not normal, which, anything, the universe is infinite, so anything could wind up being normal, but at the same time, it would be out of place. So there's one planet there that's obviously habitable, so that's even a bigger dead giveaway that this thing's artificial. But their little ring and their pool on there is very Discovery-esque.
Yeah.
It really is. But I think this lays to bed the whole notion that this is control all over again. This has nothing this doesn't feel like this has anything to do with control.
I would beg to differ. I think it absolutely confirms it's control. Yeah, I mean those flashbacks are control, what control showed. Control learned about the Red Angel and sending signals back in time. I think that could be Control picked up that idea and said, "Oh, well, we'll just do this too," and sending signals back through time as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's something separate, but they're leaving it up to your imagination at this point. They're not giving definitives one way or the other. But
no, they're giving you just enough that either answer is right now.
Correct. Either answer is correct. So no one is wrong at that point. But but it is interesting that we see Narissa there with Ramda, and now we know, and Ramda's her aunt. Her auntie, as she says, which is a really cute little scene when she's in the hospital ward or whatever with Rob. Gives her a very human side to her, even though she's definitely turns full baddie in this episode.
For sure.
So with that said, though, it's interesting that the reason that when the Borg cube tried to assimilate the Jacques Vache cruiser that Ramda was on, That is what shut down the cube, was Ramda's insanity.
Yeah.
That was a nice little twist. I liked how they did that. And it
It gave a reason, which is good.
Exactly. It plays into a very real reason as to why the Romulans had a hard time getting assimilated. It drove them all mad, and it shut down the cube, basically, because she barely survived touching on to that ring of death on Aya. The planet's called Aya, A-I-A. I don't know. I thought they did a really well job of kind of bringing that around full circle and giving some depth and some background to it. And they had, of course, a flash in that vision is of Data. There's a flash of Data's face in that, as well as a very iconic graphic that's used in almost every depiction of time moving fast, which is a fox degrading, and it's a creepy. If you go back and watch it, it's in there. There's a flash up. That's in almost every time. Anytime anybody uses a time lapse of some kind and clips like that with things degrading over time, they always use that same fox getting eaten alive by whatever bugs and everything else. Real creepy. But it's very
horror
short
movie stuff.
Yeah, it's a horror movie thing, but no, they did a nice job of that. That whole thing, that whole setup. So interesting background to it. So, and of course they're trying to prevent the second coming. Obviously this happened once before, and the way that their minds are interpreting it is going to happen again. Therefore they must snuff out all synthetic life. And of course later in the episode, John Luke just totally trashes that idea.
Right.
So, as he should.
Yeah.
As he should. I think that there's brainwashing going on with that. I think that the reason why so many people are when they survive it, when they're able to survive it, it's because they've been brainwashed in some way, shape, or form, and that's why they're so fanatical. They're so fanatical about it. So I think that in some ways they don't have control completely over themselves anymore once they've survived that. Otherwise, they've killed themselves. Bashing their heads in with rocks, and that was pretty bloody. That was pretty violent. But
ripping their hair out.
Yeah, and Agnes even alludes to that later in the episode when she's talking to Picard after she wakes up from her coma, or whatever it was. That she feels like there's a psychic block put on her to make her not really think about it too much.
Yeah.
Therefore, she wouldn't go crazy.
Right.
So Commander O did that on purpose, which it's going around all over the place. The Commander O is a Romulan. She's not a Romulan. She's Vulcan/Romulan. She's half and half. That they even say that.
She's sweet and sour.
That's right. She's sweet and sour. She's yin and yang. She's both. She's superposition.
Right.
Both up and down at the same time. So, which is why she's able to kind of give a little emotion to her speech there at the ring, but at the same time be Vulcan. So.
Right.
Anyway, but everybody's saying, "Oh yeah, she's Romulan." No, she's not. So
she's both. Yeah.
She's both. So, and of course, this is the big myth, the big Zapvash secret. We now know what it is, and it takes the whole episode of Rafi playing Doctor Who, and find Waldo. Where's Waldo? When she's looking for Rios, which is the dumbest thing ever because it's clear who you're talking to. Well, yeah, come on, that was so bad. That was so bad. But anyway, it is what it is. So, okay. Yeah, and then of course Eleanor's still in the cube, which was great. That scene with 7 of 9 coming in and helping him out. That was pretty cool. I loved what they did with 7. I'm not sure I would call her a Borg queen at this point, or a mini Borg queen, but I guess she was for a split second there until she disconnected.
Yeah.
So, but it was still cool.
Yeah. They're really leaning into it on the Will Wheaton show. They called her a Borg queen.
Did they? Okay. Well, all right. Fair enough then.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So it was neat how that whole thing played out. So pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, one of the things on the Will Wheaton show, they talked about that whole situation too. And one of the things they mentioned was that when she was connected to all the Borg and they got shot out into space, that not only did she emotionally react to that, but she physically felt that because they were all connected.
Yeah.
And so for her, it was extremely painful
I'm sure. And
Yeah.
of course, everybody talking about, hey, if they're all dead now just because they got sucked down in space, explain this. And they're showing pictures of the Borg climbing all over the outside of
Right.
the Enterprise and First Contact, and they're putting up a thing over the deflector dish. Well, there's a big difference between being out in space and walking around and being stuck to the ship and doing whatever you're doing, and being sucked out into space and not able to grab a hold of anything. They're not dead instantly, but they're going to die pretty quickly because they can't get back in. So,
Well, and my thought was when they're walking around on the Enterprise in the movies, they're prepared for that. You know, they've got their shields up and everything. Whereas with this, they were just waking up out of their chambers, if that.
Right.
Were still in their chambers, so they weren't prepared.
No.
They weren't, yeah. So
That's a good point.
yeah.
And I would say that was probably the first time I've ever seen Borg die and felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like,
Well,
shit.
They've really done a good job of showing that other side of them.
Yeah, they really have. They really have the XBs and all of that. So
Yeah.
they could have all been saved, but in some way, shape, or form. But that still brings back the whole, they didn't need to kill Hugh, but whatever. Or they could have given Hugh a little bit better death instead of what they did. But anyway. So,
yeah. We'll see if his death actually mattered, because that's what they kept saying on the Will Wheaton show. And
yeah, well, maybe it does to the standpoint of, obviously in the next episode we're going to see Picard and crew at the planet, at Soji's planet, but at the same time we haven't seen Seven of Nine and Elnor leave the cube yet.
Right.
Obviously, even though a lot of those Borg get sucked out into space, Seven still has control over some of them. And it sure looks like, hey, look at that.
Oh, snap.
Join.
Guys, we're getting a run-in, is what they call it in wrestling.
Yeah. How do I do that?
I don't know. Let's see.
I just hit join. I don't see him coming up yet. Here, I'm just going to do it this way where I go plus and I go look for Dan.
Yeah.
And I go add. There, I just added him. It's calling Dan Lombardo.
Nice.
We'll see if he gets in that way.
Yeah, we'll see.
Give him a second here, and then we can continue our commentary.
Oh, it says he's joined.
Hello, hello.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Back from Space Force Medical.
Yeah, just for a minute.
That's okay, man. Glad you're here. Glad you could drop in. It feels dry without you, buddy.
It's not the same.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And no one knows what
off.
you look like without the sunglasses and skull cap.
Yeah.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the one, the only, the majestic Dan Lombardo.
See, shiny coat and all.
I cut myself shaving. I don't know if you could see it.
Yeah, I can see
Oh,
that.
yeah, look at that.
Bug bites, actually. Looks like that's where the nanoprobes got stuck in there to
That's where they
assimilate
got
you.
me.
Yeah.
When I reassimilated the cube.
Oh, we were just talking about the Borg getting sucked out into space is about the only time I've ever felt sorry for the Borg.
I know. It's the same thing. I'm like, oh man. Oh, I hope the Borg are okay.
They're chill, literally.
You know,
Yeah, maybe
what,
maybe
though?
in the
I think they did that on purpose because those were the Borg. Those weren't the XBs.
no.
Right.
Those were the Borgs that hadn't been XB'd yet.
Right.
Right.
The XBs are still on that ship, so I think she and the XBs are gonna swoop in and save the day at some point.
Probably.
Well, she has control over the XBs too while she's connected, obviously, because that's how she goes after Narissa. I mean, those XBs were acting in unison. They were not acting on their own. So they were under her influence somehow, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So that was interesting how they did that.
Yeah. So I love the Rikers.
Yeah.
I do. I love the Rikers. Did we? Was that this week's episode, or was that
That was
last week?
That was last week.
That was last week.
I'm so lost.
That's okay.
This week's was a lot of talking about Rios and all his multiple personalities.
We called it Rappy's game of Where's Waldo.
I'm so lost because every day after work I'd watch a little bit of television and just zonk out. So
Yeah.
I watched the latest episode, but it took like 3 nights to do it.
Oh man.
But Yeah, Riker. I thought Riker. I know that was last week's episode, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I thought Jonathan Frakes jumped right back into that role perfectly. When
Yeah,
he
beautifully.
Spoke, every time he spoke, I heard William Riker.
Yep.
And I'm just glad. I know this is new Star Trek, and they use words that we didn't use on old Star Trek. I'm just glad he said ass deep in Romulans and not balls deep in Romulans, because that would have been too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been too much.
That was great though when he said shields up, red alert, shields
I
up.
know, right?
Yeah.
I know. He puts his house on red alert. That's awesome.
Did we pick up in that episode when we were talking about it that house that they filmed that on is actually on it's a house that's been used in several television series, and it's on a lot out there at Paramount. And
I forget what other shows it's been on, but
someone mentioned that, but I forget which one it was now. But yeah, it's been on several. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
There's that. It's not really in the wilderness. There's like a Dollar General right across the street.
Exactly.
Probably.
Yeah. And there's some homeless people there because it's California.
Yeah. Well, if it's a studio lot, there's probably literally a general on the other side, and who knows what else.
The tower in the background had to get wiped out in CGI.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I told my wife 5 minutes. So
Okay.
Okay.
Just want to do the pop on and.
Yeah. No. Glad you did.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm thinking about you guys. I'm thinking about our listeners.
Aw.
And can't wait to be back. I'm home, but I'm only home for a day. I got to go back tomorrow morning.
Yep.
So, but
stay safe.
All right, guys.
See you, man.
See ya.
Well,
That's
that was
nice.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome to have him pop on. That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yep. Glad he's been able to do that last two shows because it's not the same without you, buddy.
It's not the same without him.
Same.
Yeah.
And everybody listening to the three of us just then, now that it's just the two of us again, will really get a stark reminder that it's not the same.
Exactly. Exactly.
Speaking of the Where's Waldo thing with Raffi and finding all these different Rios and talking to all the different ones, we get to see the engineering hologram again. Or maybe have we ever seen the engineering hologram? I don't really recall.
Yeah.
But he's got a thick Irish accent, just like Scottish. Yeah, Scottish.
Yeah.
I mean, just like Scotty. So that was a nice little throwback.
Yeah.
They did a good job of that.
Like Jacques Cousteau, though.
Yeah, he had to have the beaner on, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Or the toque if you're Canadian.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, getting back to my notes here. I loved how when Picard comes back onto the ship with Soji, this is right at the beginning again, but he comes back onto the ship with Soji, and Raffi just instantly gets up in his stuff.
Yeah.
And Picard's like, I'm sorry for her being so rude. But I mean, she's just totally, I've wanted to say that maybe it's her lines, maybe it's the situation she's being put in, but this is just another episode where it's like, can Michelle Hurd act? And it's really obvious when it's put against Santiago, was it Santiago Cristobal is his name? Yeah. When it's put up against his acting of all the different holograms, holy crap, that man can act.
He's good, yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, every single one of those holograms, that is a totally distinct, different character, and he pulls it off. It's so believable. That dude can act. I would really be remiss if he's not in next season.
I would love to see him in other stuff.
Yeah. So, dude's good. The dude's real good. So,
yeah. I feel like he's got the making to be like a minor action star. Like if he was, I don't know, in some sort of reboot of Jason Bourne or something like that. I think he'd be really good at that. But
just from his character standpoints and the accents he can do.
Yeah.
That would be great for like an undercover agent, like that kind of thing. So that's a good idea, actually. That's pretty good. Yeah. Although I'd rather just see him stick with Trek because I want to see him in that.
Well, for sure. But I mean, if he's going to branch out,
Going to branch. Well, all of them do eventually somehow try, right? Except for
Will Wheaton.
Yeah. Or Worf, all he wants to be is Worf. Michael Dorn just wants to be Worf, Captain Worf. And he got his wish somehow, oddly enough, that he's captain of the Enterprise. I don't know. In a book, yeah. So whatever. But
poor guy.
I know. I like Michael Dorn. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
And again, I think Raffi in this episode's crazy. But John Luke is trying his hardest to defend Agnes, even if the evidence is pointing against her, until she wakes up. And he does. I don't think he honestly believes himself that she killed Maddox. until she wakes up and he tells her we're on our way to Deep Space 12, which is a cool name and reference. We're on our way to Deep Space 12, and you will turn yourself over to the authorities. That was a very Picard little speech there, and she just agrees with him, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah,
Still in disbelief,
that's
like,
totally what I thought too.
Yeah. He really didn't believe it, and he felt like, well, I'll just confront her with it, and if she agrees, then she'll deny it, and then we'll know what to do next because Raffi's crazy. Even he thinks Raffi's crazy. So.
Yeah, no, I totally got that vibe too. Like he wasn't sure, but he was just gonna play like he was just to get the truth. And
yeah,
and he got the truth.
He did. He got it quick. Another one of those great scenes. That whole dialogue between him and Agnes, the dialogue between him and Soji on their own, and the dialogue between him and Rios on his own was pretty good. And of course, when the minute, obviously the thing with Raffi happens after this, but the minute they beam him into the ship, now we find out that Rios has some sort of back history with Soji, or quote unquote her sister. That's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened to his captain. That's a tragic backstory.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't quite understand if you're a captain of a ship and you're out in the middle of nowhere and Commodore O calls you and tells you have to kill them both immediately. You don't question that, black flag or not. I mean, I've never heard the term black flag, I don't think, in Trek before, but they just made that up.
Well, we'd never heard of the Omega particle, and they did that in Voyager, so whatever.
True.
Yeah.
So, whatever it is. But when you said Omega particle, I instantly thought of Galaxy Quest.
There you go.
So, but no, it was a very interesting backstory and just tragic as all hell. Just awful, and that really affected Rios. The death of his captain, the death of those two. It just really affected him. And when he saw her again, basically a twin, he kind of lost it there for a moment. Well, more than almost the entire episode, really. He kind of comes back around full circle by the end, but
yeah.
And I think they played that out a little too long. That's part of the things that's part of this episode that's really disjointed. Raffi's little confused, whatever she's doing, and the Rios backstory got drug out a little too long for my taste.
Yeah, it dragged out a little too long.
That was the part of this episode that was disjointed. Everything else about it was perfect. The scenes with Seven and Elnor, the scenes where John Luke is doing his one-on-ones, those are all great. And that's why this one's kind of just a mixed bag, even though it's a great episode, mixed bag. But and there's still more references that they throw in as Raffi's going through and interrogating all the different holograms. One of them says, "I still can't remember the recipe for Uridian tea," which was pretty good. Is pretty good. That was a nice little reference back to Worf and his father. So, anyhow, what else do we have in here? Yeah, the We Are Borg. That was great.
Yeah, that is cool.
And they're going to go through a transwarp conduit to get to the planet. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, Picard talks about being on the Reliant when he was an ensign.
Because Voyager did that too. Like, they went through that transwarp conduit. Didn't they have to, upgrade their shields and, hull and... there was a lot of shit they had to do before they just went through it.
Right, and that's why... Rios does his little song and dance to turn off everything to get her out of the way because she doesn't know any of that. She just is going to take him right through without any thought. That's when I noticed did you reinforce the hull? Did you he said something about a chronoton field.
Oh yeah, that's right. Some sort of shielding, yeah.
Yeah. So did you do this? Did you do this? Look, we want to help you, but we have to do certain things. And she's like, oh okay.
Yeah.
Because she could easily kill all of them instantly.
Right.
And then destroy herself as she flies through the thing without doing any of the reinforcements. Right. But
then she's no good to anybody.
Then she's no good to anybody. That's right. So, all right. So, is there any other little? That's not the majority of my notes. We kind of went all over the place, so I don't know where I am. I'm gonna stop looking at.
So let me get my Will Newton notes here.
Yeah.
Let's see. So they interviewed Jonathan Del Arco and Jerry Ryan at the same time. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Some of the side little tidbits. Jonathan Del Arco said that he was not told of Hughes' overall arc, in the beginning when he was first pitched the show.
Oh man,
he was just kind of told Hugh's coming back. You want in? Okay, you know.
surprise.
Yeah, he also went on to say that he didn't know about the death until later, like as the series was being shot, but that the first scripts he read of Hugh, he interpreted as Hugh was going to be a bad guy.
Really?
Because he was working with the Romulans.
Well, yeah.
So he wasn't sure. Eventually, they gave him clarity, but
Yeah.
the first few times he was like, "Did I turn evil? What happened here?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah. This is my favorite question that was straight up asked by Will Wheaton. So basically, he asked both of them. He's like, so your characters are very different than the last time we saw them. Is it weird? Like, basically, he was basically saying, is it weird that they were so different for you, and that did they ever come to you and say, hey, what do you think your character would be saying at this point? What do you think how would your character react? Because, they as the actors know the characters better than the current team that wrote them, because it's a completely different team that wrote them than originally created the characters.
Right.
And both Jerry Ryan and Jonathan Del Arco were like, yeah, they didn't ask us anything. They just kind of did it. And it was up to us to kind of figure out the voice and figure out how to portray that. So that's interesting. Like, because one of the big things...
Go ahead. No, sorry.
Well, because one of the big selling points of this is like, oh, Patrick Stewart was on board from day one, and we worked with him in the writer's room, and we really wanted his input. And every one of these little, like, producers side chats talks about, like, oh, we really listen to the fans, and we really listen to Patrick Stewart. But then if you're going to bring back other people and same thing, like, why not ask them as well? Why not? I mean, you don't have to take the actors' ideas, but at least get their input,
Yeah.
Because it is a good point. They do know the characters better than the show writers, clearly.
I recall Jerry Ryan in an interview very early on as they were starting to shoot saying that she was really nervous about trying to figure out her voice because this character she was reading was very different than the one she left. And she was very worried about finding her voice, and that leads credence to what she just said there, that's they kind of were left up to their own to find their own way with it, which makes sense from the standpoint of, they're on the show, but they're minor characters. As much as I hate to say that about 7 of 9, she's a minor character so far, as she's doing big things in the few scenes she gets, but she's not in every scene.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's not like it's I don't know, major character in one episode, major happenings in this episode, but still a minor character. So,
yeah. I just got the email from Disney. Frozen 2 is online.
Oh, cool.
So there you go. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to watch that with the kids. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Looks like my flight is canceled tonight. That's the.
Oh, jeez, really?
Yeah. So, flight's canceled, but that doesn't mean I don't go. I just have to drive.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm going to Elgin, just outside of Chicago. So.
How long of a drive is that?
About 8 hours, a little over 8 hours. That's not bad.
10, yeah.
I've done worse. So in one day. So that's not too bad. But it sounds like, too, because of the whole whatever, I don't necessarily have to leave today. I can just leave early tomorrow morning and get there on a Monday and then come back on a Friday kind of thing.
Oh, well, that's not so bad.
No, it's not so bad. That way it's not a Sunday to Friday. It was initially going to be Sunday to Friday. But anyway.
Okay. All right. So, So that was all from the Will Wheaton show.
Okay.
First time they did not announce who they're going to be interviewing for the next episode. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll see.
Somebody dies.
It's either that or I'm thinking of a producer, because it's the last 2 episodes.
No one cares. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the speculation for the next episode is really hard to come by because it's only like a 30-second trailer. Did they show more in the Will Wheaton show than just the one that was directly after the episode?
Yeah, but I don't even remember what they showed. Like, it was so benign.
It kind of looked like space flowers were going to suck, grab onto the ship when all power went out. That's
yeah.
But then they show them like crashing, no power. So I don't understand what's going on there. But anyway,
I don't know. And the other thing that's weird to me is they're saying that this season finale is a 2-parter. aren't they all like part of one big story? Like, how is it a two-parter?
Okay, so does that mean the next 2 episodes are part 1 and part 2 of the same thing, or does that mean that the next one's whatever and the one after that is a part 1 and part 2?
I understood it as the episode 9 and 10 are part 1 and part 2 of one episode.
Okay, so that means that they're going to leave us. They leave you hanging every episode, really, because what happens next, right? But obviously they're going to have a bigger cliffhanger between the 2.
Yeah.
That means there'll probably be slower shows.
Well, it's the end.
Yeah.
These are the last 2 episodes, so.
Yep. Man, that went quick, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when we've reviewed Discovery in the past week to week, after a while, it just felt like a slog. I mean, it was like, when is this thing going to be done? When are they going to wrap it up? I'm tired of hearing about the Red Angel, or I'm tired of whatever. But but this here, I mean, I want more. 2 more episodes, not enough. That was too fast.
But I think too, like, this part of what has made this great is honestly our Facebook group is so much more active with this one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
definitely. Much more than they were with Discovery.
So there's a lot more going on with that. So I think that helps.
It's a bigger audience over there on the Facebook group too. If you're not a part of that, you need to get over there and just do a search for Trekcast, find it. It's a great group. Well over 2,400 at this point and growing every week. So
yeah.
And when we get through with all these,
Twitter,
they're all growing. Which I don't have Twitter on my phone, so that'll be interesting. I'll just have to log in and do it on the web version. I'm not going to have it on my phone, which is weird because I have TikTok on my phone, but not Twitter.
Oh, weird.
And yeah, anyway, it's a large company, so it's Big Brother to death, and there's certain things that it's letting me install and certain things it's not.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's weird. Everything doesn't really go through the App Store. It goes through their app thing on it, and it's just a strange thing what's there and what's not. Maybe I'm just missing it. I don't know, but you would think they would allow me to get Twitter on there. Anyway, I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But and because of the switch from one phone to the other and not really having my own personal phone, the TikTok thing is totally reset now. I can't get into the old account. So it's no longer at Trekcast TNG. It's just at Trekcast, like it should have been from the beginning.
Right.
So, but anyway, and now I've kind of back-ended all the login stuff for that, so I won't lose that one again. So anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that's all I had for the episode as far as wheat and stuff. So
I want to say a quick shout out and thank you to Case Gentry Hogan, and it's not Hogan. I get that wrong sometimes. I keep saying Hogan. I don't know why, but it's Case and it's Gentry, but then the last name is
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, he made a pretty large donation to us in the coffee account. About a week or so ago, and it's big enough to. Well, it wasn't really a monetary donation. It was a gift of coffee gold for the next 2 years. That's a chunk of change, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not aware of that, that's coffee gold is so much a month. So much, it was $6, $7, $8, $9 a month.
Right.
He paid for 2 years for Trekcast, and that's phenomenal. That allows us to do some new, and some unique things. Not only
content.
Yeah, premium content for those that support the show. That's on Coffee's website as opposed to somewhere else. Which right now, we've got some premium content that's on the website, and I have not been able to put much more on there lately, just simply because of work change and life and too much Corona. But anyway, but I'll get back to that as well. So it does a lot of things for us. You'll see some of those changes coming up in the short term, and in the long term, we'll continue to grow it. So thank you again for that, Case. That's a huge gift. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
All those others who have been donating over there on the coffee account, that's wonderful. We really appreciate that. Obviously, that money is going to go towards improving the show, some things we're going to need at STLV and all that. So keep those donations coming. We really appreciate it, guys and gals.
I'm planning to do some premium content. Hopefully, if things go right, I'll be recording it soon. So stand by for those announcements when that comes out.
Yeah.
But it should be fun.
Yep, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's it.
That's it, man.
In the can.
Yeah. When there's less of us, the show goes quicker. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, come back next week. Hopefully, Dan will be back.
Yep.
But right now these are trying times, and Space Force Medical needs him.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, there you have it. Another episode in the can. Check us out at trekcast.com. Also, if you would, please subscribe to us via iTunes. Leave those reviews, subscribe to us. We'll get some numbers, get up the list, get more listeners, do more shows, have more fun. But for now, we're all done. So live long and prosper, and we'll see you next week.